We have great news! A Dutch court has ruled that EA's surprise mechanics are in fact gambling and violates Dutch gambling laws. The ruling has allowed Netherlands Gaming Authority or KSA to fine EA and its Swiss subsidiary €500,000 per week up to a maximum penalty of €10 million. That's 11.7 million US. So unless EA removes its loot boxes or changes them in such a way that they don't break Dutch gambling laws, they're gonna be stuck paying €500,000 a week. To recap, in 2018, the Netherlands Gaming Authority or KSA did a study on 10 games and found that 4 games were in direct contravention of the Betting and Gambling Act. The report also found that the remaining 6 games didn't directly contravene the Betting and Gaming Act, but they could nevertheless foster the development of addiction and were at odds with the objective of preventing addiction to organized games. The Gaming Authority found that on average, loot boxes have a moderate to high addiction risk potential and that socially vulnerable groups such as young people are being encouraged to participate. According to a statement released by the KSA, most of the companies involved are now in compliance with the law except EA because of course it has to be them. This is EA we're talking about. The fine was originally imposed last October, but EA contested both the fine and the KSA's desire to reveal them to the public. The 3-judge panel ruled against the publisher on both fronts, permitting the KSA to levy the maximum allowable fine of €5 million to Electronic Arts and a second minimum fine to Electronic Arts Swiss SARL, and to announce them as well. So EA not only wanted to avoid paying the fine, which is to be expected, they also wanted to avoid the public being made aware of this. According to the judgment, EA argued that FIFA loot boxes would not count as gambling under the Betting and Gaming Act because FIFA Ultimate Team packs don't offer items of value because they cannot be directly converted into money. So, if they have no value, then why do they expect people to pay real money for them? People spend money on these card packs because they do hold value to these people. Monetary value with regards to gambling revolves around casinos and gambling sites. The law was never updated for stuff like loot boxes, where the objective is to gamble for in-game items rather than money. The law never took into account the gaming industry, which is functionally a casino where you literally cannot cash out. That FIFA is inherently a game of skill rather than chance, and that there is no scientific evidence linking the opening of Ultimate Team packs to gambling addiction. Ah yes, there is great skill involved in entering payment details and clicking the purchase button. Ultimate Team card packs are pay to win, whereby opening a lot of packs is likely to get you players with higher stats, which directly impacts your gameplay compared to people who don't open many packs. The court was unswayed by those arguments, noting that there are ways for people to profit from Ultimate Team cards that can be valued at nearly €2,000, and that people can ignore the proper FIFA gameplay and play the Ultimate Team packs as their own sort of game. There already exist third-party sites where you can trade stuff you get from loot boxes for real money. Despite not being endorsed by EA, they have created an environment where these cards do have monetary value. Oh, I love these well-informed judges. As for the lack of scientific proof, the judges ruled that it is not necessary that every new game of chance be proven to cause problems because the Betting and Gaming Act is based on the assumption that games of chance carry with them a risk of gambling addiction. This is exactly what we've been arguing for so long. This court will forever be remembered by the gaming community for their contribution towards the fight against normalizing of gambling in video games. Also, in case of FIFA, we do have instances of people suffering from gambling problems falling prey to FIFA's glorified gambling mechanics. They also pointed to an increasing body of scientific research and experts warning about loot boxes, as well as reports made to the KSA by individuals who have been affected by them. The gaming industry has so far failed to present any evidence that supports their claim, while denying the existence of any and all evidence that runs counter to their claims. And when that's not possible, they try to spin it to look like the evidence sides with them. No one is dumb enough to believe the bullshit they are pushing here. EA also argued that the KSA's decision forbidding FIFA Ultimate Team packs in their prior form violated EA's right to property and freedom of expression. What?
You serious?
So let me get this straight. Enforcing laws that protect minors and vulnerable groups from being exploited by greedy companies engaging in gambling somehow also violates EA's right to property. Huh. Good to know that taking away EA's rights will actually benefit society. And speaking of quote-unquote rights for corporations, here's something from 2016. The link to the full Jimmy Dore video can be found in the description.
So big banks get they get a lot of free money from the federal government, and their lobbyists think they have a constitutional right to it. That's from Zach Carter's article in the Huffington Post.
Oh my God.
He goes on, each year the government pays billions of dollars to banks for them being part of the Federal Reserve System. These payments aren't structured to influence or encourage any particular business activity. Banks just get straight cash no matter what they do. This is true. The Fed is here to keep the banks fully fed, and now those banks are morbidly obese, okay? So Zach goes on, Zach says the subsidy is economically useless. So this subsidy that we're giving these banks is economically useless because it doesn't push interest rates lower or boost pay for bank tellers or help more farmers qualify for loans. The money just goes straight to the bank's bottom line, boosting bank profits. So that's, again, just a subsidy. Government money going right to banks for free. That doesn't do anything to help the economy except enrich bankers. Hey, what do you get a bank who has everything? More of everything. So last year, Congress passed a law that cut down on these payments, and now they're complaining about it. So bankers are using the Fed to lobby Congress to overturn these subsidy cuts. And the American Bankers Association CEO said that, quote, cutting subsidies to banks amounts to taking the members' bank's property. That's what the CEO of the American Bankers Association said. He said that, quote, cutting subsidies to banks amounts to taking the member bank's property. So the member banks, meaning the banks that are a member of the Fed system. It's like taking their property, cutting their free money, cutting their welfare, which is what this is.
Basically, EA is upset that their unethical cash cow is under scrutiny for breaking the law. As for freedom of expression, freedom to express what exactly? What ideas, information, speech, etc. do loot boxes honestly express? That EA wants people to be addicted to gambling in order to boost their quarterly results? Sounds like a stereotypical pharmaceutical company, though in this case the stereotype is completely true. In response to the property defense, the judges noted that the KSA gave EA an opportunity to amend their FIFA games to fix the issue without any sort of sanctions or fine, but the publisher neglected to do so. They added that EA itself still owns the game and has control over how it decides to make it comply with the law. As for the KSA censoring the creativity of FIFA's game designer, seriously, what kind of argument is this? The court ruled again that the Betting and Gaming Act's existence assumes that the interests of society to regulate games of chance outweigh the interest to preserve people's freedom to express themselves through games of chance. I agree with this completely. They can argue all they want about creativity, freedom, rights, and whatever, but if a product is harmful to people in any way, then it must be regulated by the nation in order to protect its citizens. This is not up for debate. Finally, oh good, we're nearing the end. EA argued that disclosing the fine to the public would disproportionately harm its business and hurt its reputation.
You serious?
Harm the reputation of the company that won the Worst Company in America award twice? The same company that gets into trouble multiple times a year for their greedy, unethical practices? You don't say! How exactly would their reputation be harmed any more than usual? But the court ruled that the public interest in announcing the fines and warning the public about unlawful commercial practices outweighed EA's interest in preserving its reputation. A ham sandwich outweighs EA's interest in preserving its reputation. If EA is worried about their reputation being negatively impacted, then maybe they should have thought about that before engaging in these unethical, unlawful practices for years, despite knowing the negative impacts they've had on many people. EA wants us to care about their reputation despite the fact that all of this is entirely their fault, and they had ample opportunity to avoid this very predicament they find themselves in. Oh boo-hoo. Won't someone please think of the evil, unethical, large multinational corporation that's been found to be guilty of breaking the law? Boo-hoo. An EA representative has provided the following statement to GamesIndustry.biz. Players all over the world have enjoyed FIFA and the FIFA Ultimate Team mode for many years, and as such we are disappointed by this decision and what it may mean for our Dutch community. Oh sure, the players and the community are their main concern now that they are in trouble with the law that threatens to end their multi-billion-dollar unethical gambling cash cow. We do not believe that our products and services violates gambling laws in any way. Both the courts and the law says otherwise. EA has an army of well-paid lawyers, so they know they are violating the law. We are appealing this decision, of course you are, and we seek to avoid a situation impacting the ability of Dutch players to fully experience and enjoy FIFA Ultimate Team. Allow me to rephrase everything. We are appealing this decision and we seek to avoid a situation impacting the ability of Dutch players to gamble money on our card packs and enjoy FIFA Ultimate Team that will render everything they've unlocked completely worthless in less than a year, and they'll have to buy the same copy-paste game again next year and gamble money to unlock everything all over again. EA is deeply committed to positive play. We seek to bring choice, fairness, value, and fun to all our players in all of our games. Right. You can spend hundreds of dollars with no upper limit on spending and still not get the really good sports players that have the shelf life of a milk carton because the odds are stacked against the gamer, so fairness and value are not even a factor in these games. And fun. Gambling is also fun. It doesn't change the fact that it needs to be heavily regulated because of how problematic it is. We remain open to discussions with the Netherlands Gaming Authority and other stakeholders to understand and explore solutions to address any concerns. The concerns are that you, EA, broke the law by trying to push and normalize unethical gambling to minors and vulnerable groups. The KSA already has a response to EA. The game providers are the parties that decided to include a gambling game within a game, thereby breaking the law, it said. The KSA has pointed this out to EA repeatedly. EA and EA Swiss Sorrel, therefore EA itself is responsible for changing the game such that it is no longer in contravention of the law. How exactly it accomplishes this is at their own discretion. Basically, the Netherlands Gaming Authority and other stakeholders have made it clear. They don't want to hear EA's bullshit. They want EA to change the game to be in compliance with the law. How EA goes about doing that is EA's problem. That's my 2 cents on this matter, and thank you for watching.